And hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Shore Sports Network, our video series, of course, brought to you by Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above. We are just getting ready to start the 2021. It used to be 2020-21, but it's now the 2021 high school basketball season in the Shore Conference in the state of New Jersey. And clearly, starting this season, there is very little doubt in the highly competitive Shore Conference who is the team to beat. That is the Lady Lancers of St. John Vianney High School. We're delighted to chat for a few minutes with their head coach, Dawn Karpell. Coach, thanks so much for giving us some time.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about what's ahead of us.
And yeah, so let's start right now. The season is starting officially Tuesday and or Wednesday for most teams in the Shore Conference. You would have been starting this week, but you're not alone in this one. There are several schools, boys and girls, that are right now in sort of a shutdown mode. So tell us about your situation at St. John Vianney.
Yeah, we had a week of practicing. We had an exposure Martin Luther King Monday, so we've been kind of shut down since then. Kids are in the process of getting tested and all the joys that go along with that. And we're hoping, by the end of the week that we can get back in the gym and pick up with our 14-day, schedule and start to move forward early next week. So hopefully everything comes back in a good way that we can proceed.
What your experience, and I think we all agree, this is going to be something we deal with throughout the entire season. Maybe some of the luck factor is, when do you get shut down? You certainly would rather be shut down now than, let's say, the middle or end of February, when a 2-week loss at that point are games that maybe you can't even fit back into your schedule.
Yeah, now we can kind of project out and it kind of is disappointing because it's like we had a whole long time where this could have happened and it hit now, but in the next breath it's like, hey, it could have been a couple weeks later where it would have maybe been a little more devastating. So hopefully we can work around it and add to our schedule and just kind of move forward and with the circumstances make the best of it.
As young as you are, you've been at this game for a long time. So you've had challenges in the past, no matter how good your teams are, injuries, things like that. This is a challenge that there's no, let me go to the book and see what you do with this. So tell me how you've been trying to handle this, not just now that you're shut down, but even prior to, you're trying to go through your daily schedules and practice and all that and keep the girls as healthy and safe as possible.
Yeah, it's hard as a coach. I think like just even going into the first week of practice, usually, we have that 3 week of, I look at December as like our preseason in a normal world, right? Like in a normal world, you have those 3 weeks where we can really, whip the kids into shape and this year it was like, listen, if we get like a hamstring pull or something like that just comes up in preseason is to come up, then the kids could lose 2 weeks of their season. They're losing a third. So even the way we handled preseason this year and conditioning, it was like a very much different mentality for me to balance it because, we want the kids to be able to have whatever part of the season we're going to be able to have. We want them to be able to be healthy enough to play through it. So yeah, that went to my pre-practice plans for sure.
So I want to take you back in time a little bit to the middle of March last year. You were one of those teams still standing with a lot to play for. I mean, big games right in front of you. And then comes the shutdown. And I know how difficult that must have been. But I'm sure in the back of your mind, you said, well, you know what? These girls are going to get the opportunity next year because I have everyone coming back pretty much. So, you know what? Okay. And here we are sitting here 10 months later, and all of those lofty goals that you might have had last March, some of which you had already achieved, you're not going to have to be able to attain those this year.
Yeah, that's the thing last year when it all got pulled out. We're heading to the state finals. The silver lining was like, guys, this at least you have next year. We're all coming back and we're gonna have that. And then when reality set in December of this year, that was really not gonna be the case. I think there was definitely, I almost call it a mourning process for the kids, like especially my seniors. Obviously would devastate any athlete, but kids with goals and this is what their makeup is, that this is who they are. They play basketball and they do it really well and they do it all the time. It's heartbreaking, and there's really, as an adult, not a lot that you can say or do. So our approach when we did get back in the gym was like, let's just enjoy each other, because the great part about this team that I have is that they really love playing with each other, love being with each other. And let's look at, the beneficial side of like, hey, because I couldn't even coach them. Like we were together in certain ways, but we weren't really together in a normal way, even in the summer and those off season moments. So, let's just take the time that we are given and let's enjoy it. And then secondly, like, my job is to get you guys better and to improve you. And they all have goals to play in college on the collegiate level. So, like there's still work to be done, and there's a lot of work to be done because they've lost time in that area as well to prepare themselves for that next level.
Yeah, you will have the opportunity to coach championship teams, hopefully for many years. Those girls that are on your team this year, especially the seniors, this would have been their last go around in terms of that. So it's certainly much harder on them than it is on you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really not like anything personal. I mean, obviously, folklore, where we go down, this could be one of the greatest teams we ever had, like all those things are just going to be talked about now and can't come to fruition. But more importantly is the kids that are involved and where they're at. And and honestly, I mean, as we all are, like they're just learning life lessons, and we just have to take like what we can from life and just do the best we can with it. And so we're going to try to play the schedule and put together as many good games as we can and get them excited to go out and compete, because that's really like what all athletes want to go out and do.
So really, your definition of what will be a successful season is a little bit different than this year than it might have been in the past.
Oh, for sure. It just is like, it just is the reality of it. Obviously they're competitive, and when we put together the couple non-conference games that were allowed, like, they want to play the best teams that we can get in front of us in those situations. And if we do get to that pot at the end and we get an opportunity to play in like a mini short conference type tournament event, like the kids are really excited to perhaps be able to get to that moment as well. So those are things that they're still excited to go out and compete for.
So let's talk a little bit about the girls on this squad. The two seniors that would stand out to me would be Katie Hill and Emma Bruin, who both, starters last year. Katie had a great year. I believe she's headed to the University of Richmond. I'm not sure about Emma. You can fill us in, but they are the two seniors who were core players last year and are back. And obviously you always count on seniors as leaders, right?
Yeah, I mean, Katie Hill for sure has been a leader for a couple years. Last year we had no seniors, so I mean, it fell on her as even a junior, a lot of leadership. And she definitely has the it and tenacity and work ethic and pushes everyone, and has been awesome through all this, just like running workouts and getting the kids together and keeping them going. Emma Bruin honestly kind of got a little hit by the whole pandemic as far as her college recruiting. So she's still kind of finishing up with that and has some options, but the next 6 weeks is going to be really important for her. That's like another thing that we haven't touched on yet, but they lost the AAU season, these kids, so they've lost a lot of recruiting opportunities. So that's the other necessary part of us playing competitive games and trying to get as many competitive games as we can, is that we can generate some film for these kids so that we can get it out to the college coaches for recruiting purposes. So and then I have Sienna Bradley, who's been with us for 4 years, who just verbal to Wheaton Division III academic school. So those are my seniors, and we're trying to make the best out of what we can for those kids. And we'll see how that rolls out.
Not to take anything away from what is an incredibly talented junior class, but heading up that group has to be Madison St. Rose. In some respects, she was the player of the year in New Jersey as a sophomore, which is pretty amazing. We got to broadcast the Shore Conference final against Manchester, where she had an epic game. I mean, just an unbelievable game. And clearly a young lady who's got ice water in her veins because she's not afraid to go to the free throw line. She's just so talented. And again, not to take anything away because you have a really good group, but she does stand out just a little bit.
Yeah, Maddie is a special player. I mean, obviously I've had a lot of great ones that I've had an opportunity to coach, and she's very near the top of that list, just because of all the abilities that she brings, just to score the ball, pass the ball, her instincts, is all of it is very natural and fluid. But I think the pandemic accelerated her recruiting process, and she was able to verbal to Princeton University, so she's kind of a smart kid as well. But definitely, I think in light of the world and what happened in the last 6 months, I think that played into her decision, and which way she wanted to go and not be too far away from mom, and the academics, obviously, piece that goes along with it. And I was excited about her decision, and also excited that we get to coach her for a couple more years. But yeah, Maddie's special.
The two other juniors who were starters for you last year, and again, you will rotate some people, but Megan Cahalan and Ashley O'Connor, what can you tell us about both of those players?
Yeah, well, Meg already, she also verbaled to Holy Cross, real high, smart academic kid. Again, I think through the pandemic and through the way that not to get into like a full college recruiting montage for you, but things have accelerated a little bit there just because of what's going on in the college ranks. So Meg made that decision to go to Holy Cross. She wanted the academic school, 6'2", 6'3" center. She's really an anchor for us defensively, and I'm excited. Her offensive skills are like growing. What she's done in the last 6 or 8 months is amazing. Ashley O'Connor, again, hasn't finalized her college plans, only as a junior, but she definitely has lots of interest. She's a glue kid, anchor, just like a jack of all trades. She's going to defend, she's going to grab rebounds, she's going to score. Like anything we need, she can really fill a lot of columns for us on the stat sheet.
When you have all 5 starters back, kind of hard to get playing time if you're not one of them, but you do have some other young ladies. So just throw a couple of names out about people we will see in uniform on the court.
Geez, just going into my really talented sophomore class, I had JD Bachman, who played a little bit last year, Michaela Hubbard, who's 6'2", center off the bench. I also have Bree Delaney, who was injured a little bit, Sierra Savalas, another guard, Ashley Slofakanish, another 6'2" kid, and then I have Paige Knutson, a junior. And then lastly, my only freshman is a kid by the name of Karpell. Julia Karpell is added to the Vianney ranks this year. So
you've been through this once before with coaching a daughter. How interesting is that?
This is, Kevin, you have kids, and as you know, like, no, they're all different, right? Like each kid you have is different. So this one is different. So I'm excited to see what she's going to bring, but she's definitely different than Sarah was. So it should be fun.
You're smiling the whole time as you say that. Yeah, that should be fun. I don't know how much fun for you and her, but fun for us to watch. So your schedule, what, I don't know what you call it this year. I guess we call it a pod for now. You do have some listen, I look at RBC, Rumson, Holmdel. I mean, that's teams that are forming the nucleus of the top 10 in the Shore. So your, let's call them regular season schedule, has some really good challenges there for you.
Yeah, we were able to switch out and pick up Rumson, so that was kind of good. We were able to flip that one out. We have RBC as our one like pickup game. Holmdel was originally in our pod. Darren Alt, who used to be my assistant, is the head coach over there now, so he's excited. We're a little excited to like renew that a little bit. So we have a couple games there in our conference, and then there's a couple non-conference games that I still have an opportunity to pick up, but I was just kind of waiting to see how this all plays out, because I have a feeling that there might be some opportunities for us to pick another game or two in there.
Right. So it looks like, right, that basically you could play 12 games heading into whatever we're going to call this pod at the end, which, as you said, maybe it's a mini Shore Conference tournament, whatever, but that would be a 3-game maximum, right?
Yeah. So hopefully, we get to that, and then they're gonna seed 1 through 47. They're gonna do like little 18 pods. I guess the good part of all of this is our coaches association was able to get together numerous times through this when the schedule kept getting reworked, and we've already started to project out for the future how we can build more competitive schedules throughout, not just for the top teams, for middle, for all kind of brackets brackets and scheduling, and I think it's led to some good conversations about how we can like just improve the overall makeup for everybody, so everybody can have a good experience when it comes to a season, not just a COVID season, but moving forward as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, and you do seem to have a solid coaches association, which helps. I do want to ask you this one other thing.
Mhm.
Dawn, you played at St. John Vianney. I mean, this is a game that's in your blood. Your families have been involved in basketball at the Shore for decades. What is it that makes girls basketball at the Shore? I mean, you could maybe there's others. I know there's other division conferences that are good, but I mean, I think last year 5 of the Shore teams were in the final state top 20. That's not unusual. What is it that makes girls basketball in the Shore so good and such really the lifeblood in the state of New Jersey?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I ask that often. I mean, obviously now like, I have my daughters that have gone through now as well. So I mean, we have really great youth travel programs and AAU programs in our area. So the short answer is I think the girls, we get them in third and fourth grade. So we're getting the athletes. You know what I mean? And basketball is a skilled sport. So in you need to have skill along with being athletic. So I think one, if you get them in early and they're athletic, and then two, they love the game, they fall in love with it at that age, then the skill comes, along with it. And I think those things married together definitely produces really good high school products.
Well, no doubt about it. The Lady Lancers will have the target on their back all season. That's nothing new. You're accustomed to that, and you've done a pretty good job of handling that over the years. So for now, we just say that hopefully everyone gets healthy. You're back on the court opening up your season next week, and you get to play 15 games between now and the middle of the March. And as I said to you before we began this, if you play 15 games, you consider your year a success in some ways right off the bat, because I'm sure when we get to March, there'll be more than 1 or 2 teams that will have already been shut down. So for now, just wish you all the best. As always, good chatting basketball with you, and look forward to seeing you along the way.
Yes, thanks, Kevin. And thank you for the coverage and everything that you do for girls basketball with your group. Thank you so much. It's so appreciated.
Dawn Karpell, the head coach at St. John Vianney, the Lady Lancers getting ready to start the season at number 1.